Hello, everybody. Welcome to Consciousness Chronicles. Millie and I, Linda, are here. We set this podcast with the intention to bridge the gap between the spiritual novice and the conscious veteran. Wherever you are on your journey, you are still a human, here to embrace and learn from all that this life has to offer. And our mission is expand everybody's awareness through our personal stories and show that being human on this journey is just as important as living our life from a conscious space of love. So, with that said, here's what we have to pull from the magic jar today. And we have, oh, my favorite subject.
You start this one. Do it, girl.
Well, as a photographer, I see the tremendous lack of self-love out there in the world. So many people are hyper conscious about the way they look, talking negatively to themselves. I've been on sessions before, and they're usually with young teenage girls who just sit there and just berate themselves to themselves the whole time we're doing a photo shoot. And I just have to stop and say, whoa, 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 time out. None of that will happen here. You're only allowed to say beautiful things to yourself. And as I sit there and start to say beautiful things to them, it's amazing to see that transformation in them start to happen. And just, their face becomes more relaxed, they become more natural. And it's not always that way. There's some tough cases where I've had people that just don't like their photos at the end of it. And it's really not anything that I've done. It's just they don't like themselves that much. And that's so painful to see. And I also did this beautiful self-love exploration with a friend of mine. It was like a little mini gathering in St. Pete, probably a couple years ago now, with my friend Emily. And it was just like a self-love gathering, a goddess self-love gathering. And there were like 20 women and one guy that came because his wife dragged him along. It was her birthday. She was in town, wanted to look up and find something to do and saw that and picked that to go to. And her husband went, that was powerful and so moving and so beautiful. And to hear the heartache and the stories going around and sharing in the room of what brought them there and how they came in feeling about themselves, and then seeing them leave uplifted and feeling like they had some tools and were empowered to go forward and really love themselves. I mean, it's a lifelong journey, let me tell you. You can't fix it in a couple hours, but just to see those little shifts it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It made my heart happy.
That's so beautiful. And there is definitely I see it in
Epidemic.
young girls. I see it in women our age. I see it in men.
Yeah,
Um,
men, they hide it though.
they hide it. Well, they hide it, by going to the gym and pretending that everything is okay. And if I have the right muscle or the fat mass or whatever, they hide behind that. Women, women hold it emotionally, and then it's seen on them, it's seen with them, their insecurities. And one of the things that I realized when I moved back down to South Florida is the amount of people with plastic surgery, um, because it's like LA, and the amount of, wow, like, how can you be so unhappy? You're all looking exactly the same. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying that there's a big amount of people here that's when you realize, why is society trying to keep up with the Joneses that they see on television? Why can't they just see? And it stems from childhood. I told you, my mother would say to me as a child, as a teenager, you go put on some makeup. She'd walk around with a lipstick in my 20s and 30s because you're not that pretty. So go, you need help. And I would look at her and I go, I'm like, well, with makeup. So, I mean, it's very rare that I wear makeup. And it was, either every single piece of gray hair that I have on my head um has a story. Every single wrinkle, my laugh lines, my forehead, they have a story. And I'm not saying I think we should all look our best, don't get me wrong, but I did that in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, and I spent more energy trying to fit in with what society wanted me or expected me to become. And it wasn't until I was able to look at myself and go, you know what? I am not shifting or changing who I am on the outside. I believe that self-love is the most important part of shifting anything that you want on the outside. If you can actually love and accept yourself, a smile, a really nice smile, even if you have crooked teeth, is the best facelift you can give your soul.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
you don't have to do all the other stuff. And I'm not doubting. I mean, I think everybody has the right to do whatever they want, and if they really want to look good, that's awesome. I mean, if that's what looks good on you. What I think is when there's such a dysmorphia of like where people see themselves and how they want to see themselves, that they don't tune in to see what am I missing in me. That self-love part is, ooh, it's invaluable.
Well, it's like that whole chasing money thing too. It's like, oh, well, when I have this much money,
Right.
I'm going to feel better about X, Y, or Z. It's like, well, when my nose is straight and my eyebrows are fleek and I have this taken care of and this lifted, I'm going to, no, be that now. You don't need
I
to
know.
wait for that crap to feel that way.
For real. I remember there was a part in the movie Eat, Pray, Love, or even in the book. Elizabeth Gilbert is in Napoli and she's eating or Naples. She's eating a pizza with her friend.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. And she
The
goes,
jeans.
my pants no longer fit. And she said, well, this is the point. We're gonna go get bigger jeans or
Yeah.
big big girl pants. And really you can fluctuate. And I think that it's great to keep yourself, healthy. But I also think that when you're focused so severe on your outer parts, on your exterior, that you forget to see what am I missing on the inside. It doesn't matter if you look like this or you look like, like a tank. It doesn't matter. I feel that if you're comfortable, I have seen women, God, bodacious, beautiful women that are walking around in a bikini, and I am going, I have issues about putting on a bathing suit, and these women are, and I can't help but go to them and I go, oh my God, you're gorgeous. I'm like, yeah. Like they believe it, and they really, and you don't
Yeah.
see it. You see the
Yeah.
confidence in them, and I'm like, God, if I only had an ounce of that confidence, an ounce. And yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh, and my favorite part from that scene in Eat, Pray, Love is when they're talking with, I think it was a friend that said, have you ever stripped in front of a man and had him tell you to get out of his room?
He's lucky he has a woman in the bed with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think back to when I was like 45 pounds heavier and my husband was grabbing at me just as much as he grabs at me now. But in my mind, I was like, no, I'm not worthy. I'm too big, and that's like, no, what a waste of my time.
I knew a woman that came to my retreat center for a retreat, and it was a women's retreat. And one of the days was about acceptance and self love. And she said that her husband had never seen her naked with the lights on or even taken a shower with her or anything. And I thought to myself, you've been married how long? She said 20 something years. I
Hmm.
said, is it going to matter how he touches you in bed or how he gets in the shower with you or sees you? Big time. She had
Hmm.
already made this thing in her head that her body was not, it wasn't beautiful. And so she was stuck there all those years. She was a middle-aged woman, completely hateful of her body. And she had a beautiful body. There was nothing wrong with her. And I feel that after the 3 days, on the fourth day, because it was 3 nights, on the fourth day when she left, she looked like a different person. I mean, we got down to where that came from and what had happened to her. And there had been a lot of abuse, but you know, I think it's powerful, the self-love or the lack of it that's happening right now. It's
Yeah. I feel like at least for my personal story, a lot of it's generational. I watched my barely 5 foot tall, teeny tiny grandma who had like a mother who was built more like me and probably 150 pounds heavier than me. And so she had some sort of weird body image from that, which then translated to my mom, which then translated to me. I was constantly seeing these women on diets and trying new things. I remember in the 70s being a little kid in my apartment in Chicago, watching my mom eat just grapefruit for a week. And I'm like, thinking now, what? Don't do that in front of your little kid.
did that for
But
years.
then I can't say I didn't do shit like that in front of my kids. So how do we make it stop?
I don't know. I used to faint in my 20s all the time because I'm hypoglycemic and I would not have enough sugar and boom. Even in high school, it was like
Hmm.
pass out anywhere because I wasn't getting enough nutrients because I had an image of what I needed to look like as a young Latin girl. And I was comparing my body to that of an American woman. And they don't have the hips or the butts that we have, like it's a big thing. And I did everything to look like that. So I was always sick. I was always sick. I can't even tell you the amount of times I ended up with some kind of, you know, bacteria or something because I was malnourished. I wasn't
Hmm.
happy looking at myself. And it didn't matter what anybody said to me because I wasn't happy. So I don't know. What do we do about that? I could
I
find
don't
you.
know.
What do you think?
I try to now focus on lifestyle and health, but that was brought on more from my cancer journey than anything else. And now it's more like, okay, I want to make this body last me a lot longer because I got a lot of things I want to do here, and experience still from this amazing world. But then I just think of all, like you, when I was in high school, I think my senior year of high school, I had like a 300 calorie a day limit. I ate one lean cuisine and that was it all day long. And I think I did 200 sit-ups a day. That was my regime. It's like, wow, that's messed up on so many levels. But nobody noticed, nobody said anything about
Nobody
it.
ever
It was
does.
like,
But you know what? We didn't have all the social media growing up that we have
oh my
now.
God, if we did, we'd be a mess.
Oh, I would have been. I mean, I was comparing myself to 17 magazine. That's what I was comparing myself, which were all
Yeah.
American, blonde, blue-eye girls, and that's what
Hmm.
that was my journal of idea and on television. I mean, I don't know. I probably would have had some serious worse than what I had.
Yeah, yeah. I can't even imagine going there because just hormonally, I was a mess, throughout each month, extreme highs and lows. So,
What do you think is the, I want to say the answer, but how do you think we need to start paying attention to our emotions and how we experience each emotion without censoring it, or like a lot of times I think the lack of self-love also shows up on people that have no vulnerability, or they don't allow themselves to be vulnerable, they don't allow themselves to be authentic. And I mean, it's not just
mhm.
a body. Do you feel that maybe shifting our mental health, because this country's mental health does not have a really good system of mental health? I mean, Hmm.
I don't know if this answers your question. It's more of a commentary,
Go
on,
ahead.
on that, but the people I admire the most are the ones that are the most authentic and the most vulnerable in sharing the darker aspects of their life. And I have since tried to be that person because it's like, to me, that's very admirable. And it's also very much relatable. The whole guru thing, I got a hot body and I'm going to do this and I'm in Costa Rica and look at me and da 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 da, whatever. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just making a generalization. And that's okay. If that's your spiritual journey, that's cool. But for me, the spiritual journey I want to follow is the one that I was raped when I was 13 by my uncle, and I overcame that. And then I went out and I had this tragedy happen to me. I mean, those, oof.
Yeah.
And now look, you are a healthy human being functioning in this world. Wow. To me, you're my guru. You know, you are one
Me.
of those people because
Yeah.
you're very open with and vulnerable. And to me, there's nothing more admirable yet so human about that. And that, to me, that's beautiful. And that feels like a huge aspect of self-love when you can admit, I've gone through all this shit and still stand in who you are
Who says
and,
I'm standing?
and be giving and loving to others. I mean, that's
It is. Thank you.
mm,
I love you
mm.
for seeing me that way. I don't see myself that way.
Oh, I bet
Thank
I
you.
could find 100 people right now to comment
Mm,
below and say they see you that way
no, no,
because
no.
you
But
are that way.
no, thank you. I don't know any other way to be. That is probably because of all the experiences. I think the more, just like you, the more experiences we have, the more open we are to showing them without shame and guilt. Because where does shame come from and guilt? It comes from hiding, from not
Yes.
loving ourselves enough to see that, oh, that lesson, that thing happened. That's where the shame, people who, who've experienced atrocities and then they're ashamed because what if somebody finds out they're not going to love me? Um, if you accept those things and you see them as part of your journey and the lessons you came here to learn, you wouldn't have the shame and the guilt anymore. You know, excuse me, especially when it happens to you. It's not that you go out and you know, you're looking for it. And even
Right.
when you're looking for it, it happens. There's things there too that could be shameful and you know, looked upon, frowned upon. I think that it's like Brene Brown, when she started writing and I started following her, it was like a light came on me. Here's this woman who is studies social aspects of our humanity, and what is the biggest issue is shame in our society and the things
Yeah.
that hide. And when she does a study of thousands and thousands of people, and she comes down with, to realize that being authentic is more beautiful and it's all about really accepting all aspects of yourself. I mean, you don't ask for rape. Because it's an atrocity. Someone
Yeah.
takes control over you. What are you ashamed of? It happened to you. It wasn't that, and I think that that's one of the worst. And then you have, molestation and things that happen to a young child. These are things that no one should live through. And there's nothing that you can do at this point to beat yourself any more than you've been beating yourself for, however many years. I think when you start loving all those aspects of yourself, man, there's a freedom to it that it's if I would have known in my 20s and 30s and even 40s, the freedom that came with finally accepting the entirety of me, the wholeness of me, every single thing that I've ever done, consciously and unconsciously, or every path that I took, my life would probably have been quite different. So I also have to say, those were lessons that I needed to learn to get where I'm at. But I I kind of like myself a lot. And I don't say that in a narcissistic way. I
Of
mean,
course
I
not.
might not like the way the outside vehicle looks at times, but man, the internal part of me, pretty cool with it. It's for the first time in my life that I could say, yeah, myself, like some days I like myself more than others, but yeah. And I have this ability to, probably to a fault, forgive too fast and too quickly without really allowing things to,
No, I do that too. And I think it's healthy, or maybe it's a coping mechanism. I don't know. I
maybe
like to
that's
look
where I
at it
was
as
gonna,
healthy. To not
maybe,
hold on to shit and carry it with me,
yeah.
because I don't need any more to carry with me.
I got a big ass. I don't need to carry anything else. Just like I really, and I do tend. I mean, there might be things that I hold on for a while, and then I'll write my letters and I'll release them. And I feel that if you want self love, with it, you have to come to terms of self forgiveness, forgiveness for others, and forgiveness for yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's not, the forgiveness is not for them. The forgiveness is for you to let go of them. When you don't forgive somebody, you're literally being held captive
Yeah.
in that horrible. So if you want real freedom and self love, it starts with releasing the crap that you have done and has been done to you. I mean,
When you're
holy shit.
energetically tied to them too, especially if it's something that you keep reliving, you're just pulling in more of that energy.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Do you think we have to get to a certain age in life to where we can finally accept ourselves? Do you think we have to go through these different phases to get to this point?
No, Linda, I'm seeing a lot of people, that young people, like clients that are in their 30s, and they seem to have their shit together. And I'm like, "Man,
Well, that's good.
yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it. I feel that our generation has a harder time with letting things go because we weren't brought up that way.
Yeah.
I mean, we were from the generations, children are seen and not heard, and you have to be reminded at 10 o'clock at night, do you know where your children are? I mean, that,
Yeah.
oh, like,
Oh yeah, I got kids. Pass me
oh
over
yeah, where are
here.
they're supposed to come here when the lights turn on in the street. I feel that, I feel the generations that are coming in, because the parents in their 30s are more aware of them, or the 20s, I feel they do have um more acceptance. I don't know if it's a real acceptance or something that they were witnessing and they're seeing and they're just, copying from social media and from shows. But God, I hope so, and I pray that, I don't know. But self-love is the big one. Self-love is, um
Yeah.
I feel, what do you think is the one thing, if you can give somebody an advice on how to find self-love, what would it be?
I think it's so cheesy, but I
Say
believe
it.
it works so well. Affirmations. I am enough on my shirt.
Yeah.
I am worthy. I am strong. I am powerful. I am a powerful goddess and beautiful, and uh, say it to yourself, because it's kind of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Walk confidently, walk feeling like it's like those curvilicious girls in the bikini. People are going to find that highly attractive, not for what they're seeing physically, for what they're getting
Because
energetically.
it feels brave. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's this woman, I can't remember her name. Last summer, she did a video, and It was called Wear the Suit. Do you remember that? I remember sending it
What's
to
it
you.
called?
I don't remember her name. I have it in the, anyways, it's this woman. She's famous on TikTok and Instagram. And she did a video. She's like size 14, 16. You know, she's a normal average woman. And she was talking about her wearing a bikini last summer. It went viral. I went and bought a bikini. My friends went. I mean, it was a bikini, not like a over my tummy, you know what I mean? But I went and I took the kids to the pool every other weekend, and I wore my bikini. And she said it doesn't matter your size. It's what matters is like she was trying to. It was beautiful, and it went viral last year, and it came out again this year. And I was like wearing the bikini because if I can wear something, and I've seen the women down here, and they're beautifully bodacious, and they don't care.
Yeah,
And I am like, why am I working? These people at the beach, what do I care what they think of me? You know what I mean? And they're not even looking at me. They're looking at the ocean or looking at their family. They're not sitting there going, oh my God, look at that middle-aged woman. She needs to dye her hair. She needs to lose like 50 pounds. Well, no, they're not even thinking that. And if they are, I don't know them. I don't know what's in their head.
yeah.
It's
Cast
really
your
about
judgments.
us.
I don't care.
But it's really about how I feel. And I think the more I feel good in my skin, the better I look at
Yeah,
any size. It's about, just feeling good about what you see. And self-love
I
goes
agree.
deeper than just what you see in the mirror. It's about how are you feeling, not just about what you're seeing in the mirror, but how are you feeling about yourself? Can you be in the
Yeah.
silence of yourself, you know?
Are you carrying yourself with confidence in your bikini as you walk? Or are you
Yeah.
kind of walking around all, meek and scared and worried about who's going to see you and grabbing a cover up really quick? I mean, that confident energy is so attractive.
It is.
Yes,
And and
regardless of age or weight or anything.
I see some women in their 80s walking the beach, and every time somebody passes by me, I'm like, God, you're gorgeous. Thank you for showing up today. Because I'm like, I want to be that. I don't want to have to hold back. And
Right.
yeah, great subject. That was beautiful.
Well, at
Thank
least we
you.
got here in our lives to a point where we can feel somewhat confident in ourselves and wear our bikinis and enjoy the beautiful
Or
sun.
nothing. Let's just be clear. It doesn't have to be a bikini.
Yeah.
You can go wear nothing. I mean, I feel that be free.
Maybe I need to put nude beach on my bucket list.
I'll tell you a story about 2 weeks ago about that.
Okay, I'm waiting.
No, I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, why are you turning red?
Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. If you liked it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Love y'all. Till
Thank
next
you.
time. Bye-bye.